All right, here with Princeton head coach Matt Smith after a 56-41 win over Beckley. All right, first thing I want to start off with is you guys just being able to turn them over. Obviously, you just mentioned it, but they didn't have Danya. But that's what you do, is you take advantage of what you can. They had a bunch of kids that didn't look like they were ever really comfortable handling the ball or settling in, and you guys were able to attack that. And I think you forced 13 turnovers in the first half or somewhere in that range. And anytime you can do that, that's a recipe for success.
Absolutely, yeah. And we didn't know Danya was going to play. But the plan after watching film the first time was, see what we can do, because we don't match up well with Zoe. Not a lot of people do, but we don't. And so what can we do to speed them up or get them out of rhythm to where, she's not set up in the half court, and then tonight it just so happens with Danya out and she has to do so much of the ball handling, and the poor kid was worn out. She's trying to bring the ball down and get into the offense, and it was worked out for us, but it put them in a tough situation because they didn't have that second ball handler to kind of help relieve some of that pressure.
Talk about kind of adjusting that strategy on the fly, because it wasn't only that, but I don't think she scored in the first half at all, and that's a really good score, whether it be short range or long range. She stretches the floor. She's you mentioned you don't match up well for a reason, and she's a good player, but if my numbers are right, she didn't score in the first half.
Yeah, that's the same thing Moose just told me. Once you kind of know Danya's not out there, and then you can zero in a little bit more. And once we saw it was just going to be her, it was, hey, at least two sets of eyes at all times on her. And she, and again, having to handle the ball the full length of the court, try to get them set up offensively, and then also try to get into her look. It was frustrating for her, and I think that was a big part of the first half. She was just having to do so much that it just frustrated her. Now, in the second half, she's an all-state player for a reason. She got, I don't know what she ended up with, but she got into some looks, and you can only contain somebody like that for so long. But I thought our girls did a really good job, especially in the first half, of just knowing where she was.
I thought one kid that had a really good first half. It looked for a while like the point totals probably wouldn't match it and reflect it, but Abby, I knew. She did it all. She was able to get in transition and find players and get them in spots to score, as well as creating turnovers and getting a bunch of steals. I just talked about the game that she had tonight. She finished with about 14 points overall, but for a while she didn't score and was still like one of the best players on the court.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because so many people look at point totals to determine whether or not a kid has a good game. If Abby Honecker doesn't score, she's still maybe the most valuable person out there because of everything else she does. And in the first half, one reason we were allowed to pressure Zoe so hard is because she was doing her job on the backside and taking that next pass and making it even more miserable, because now when I have all that pressure, my outlet's taken away, and those are things that go unnoticed by people who don't know. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because she did that beautifully in the first half. And I think it led to a lot of, even if it weren't her steals, whatever, but deflections and turnovers in our advantage, and then allowed people to get some easy buckets early. So that she played a great game. And then once she did get her opportunity, and listen, I'll take Abby Honecker on the free throw line over just about anybody. She steps up, she's cool, man. So I just told Moose, she's the closest thing we have to a senior. And so she gets up there and she hits, 8 free throws in the fourth to kind of settle us back down and finish things. Just played a fantastic game.
Even when they did get in the half court, just a lot of struggles to score. I think they were like 1 of 7 or so from three, 1 of 8. And usually, like, even without Danya, they still have kids. You talk about Zoe, but also the Gunter kid can step out and hit a couple.
Yes.
They have kids that feel comfortable hitting threes, so to hold them to 1 of 8, I think also speaks to just never letting them get comfortable in half court.
Yeah, you're right. And we're looking at now. We're making that push. We're looking for more times to extend things and to get back. And it's the same thing. Like, we want to play a certain way, but we have to look for certain times when we can be full court aggressive and half court aggressive. And I think by switching those things, though, we got them out of a rhythm there in the first half, and then pack it back a little bit more, make it a little bit more compact, take away some of those driving games, which actually in the third, I thought they did a really good job of it, attacking pinch areas against us. But then having always, again, whether it been Kylie, Addie, or the backside, even knowing where those shooters were, I think did a lot. And again, you don't have to close out hard. Just be there. Just the presence is enough to affect a three-point shooter, and we did a really good job of that in the half court.
I know we've joked offensively, you guys are usually like a 35% shooting team, but tonight 47%. And I think a lot of that was the ability to capitalize off of live ball turnovers.
Yes.
I know you guys turned it over. I think it was about 16 times or so, but it wasn't quite as detrimental to they were getting out on fast breaks or anything. Just talk about your guys' efficiency on offense and being able to convert, because when you hear that number 47%, and
you'll take that any night. Yeah. And you're right, it's transition, but it's also, and not saying that we didn't at times settle, but it's not settling for that jump shot, right? I mean, we came out of, I think Abby just hit 2 free throws. We called a timeout and basically wanted the ball in Kylie and Addie's hands and said, you like your matchup, go. If not, we'll come back out. And we ran it for a little bit, and Addie got a look, and then when help came, calmly hit the backside. When we're attacking downhill and filling in on the backside and getting easy looks, yeah, we're a much better basketball team. It's funny you bring that up. I was actually looking at percentages today. We're not bad from 2. We shoot about 42% on the year. It's just when we start settling for that long jump shot, and that's part of being young. That's part of seeing size and size. And that's the thing I'm most proud of. I mean, the size tonight. There were times I wish we couldn't maybe have forced some of those, but it wasn't. We weren't saying we were attacking it, and that I think led to that. What do you say, 47% shooting? So yeah, we shoot 47%. I like us a lot better when we shoot 30. I tell you that.
I think they cut it down to about 8 or so, and it was almost a 20 in the third quarter. You guys buckled down, and that's where they went blank. I think they scored like maybe 5 points in the entire fourth quarter. Just talking about being able to buckle down, because that's usually like when it's tough. You're running out of stamina at that point, but you guys were able to cut it off and really steady the ship.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that was, if you go back and you look at their run, like I was telling you, we were late getting to those pinch areas, and they were being able to attack those a little bit. And then when they attacked the pinch area, now when the backside of our 12 comes, needs that backside rebounding open, and they were able to get some good putbacks there. And again, it was settling ourselves down, knowing what we did to be successful, even in a half court. If we don't give up penetration, our rebounding is much better. We're undersized, right? So you got to work the entire possession. And but I thought they did a really good job there in the third of attacking our zone. And then if they weren't making the shot, being able to rebound it on the backside and get some easy putbacks. And Bristol, Tyler, Natalie, and our guards always rebound well. And I think once they maybe got their legs back, whatever, and we started rebounding a little bit better, closing off those driving angles, then we were able to frustrate them again and hold them to, 5 in the fourth. So.
Gotcha. Thank you, Coach.